Hi guys, it's me, Professor D, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. On this video, I'm going to be covering more pediatric dosage calculations. Before I even get started, as always, I'm going to ask you to please support me and support this channel by liking this video, subscribing to my channel if you haven't done so already. And don't forget, not only do I have audio lessons available on my website, you can also book a nursing review on my website as well. So be sure to check that out, nexusnursinginstitute.com. Okay, guys, so let's get started. First question says the physician, let me turn the light for you. Physician ordered digoxin 15 milligrams per kilogram. Patient weighs 44 pounds. The medication label reads 75 micrograms per milliliters. What dose will you administer to the patient? Okay, so whenever we get a math question and it's whatever per kilogram, we always have to convert our pounds to kilogram. That is the first thing you're going to want to do because you don't want to get confused, okay? So our patient weighs 44 pounds. Let me move this over so you guys can see what I'm doing. Our patient weighs 44 pounds. We need to convert that pound into kilogram. How do we do that? Divide that 44 by 2.2. So pull out your calculator. 44 divided by 2.2, and that gives me 20. Okay, my patient weighs 20 kilograms. So I'm going to write my 20 kilograms right here. 20 kilograms, so I don't forget. My patient weighs 20 kilograms. Now that I have my patient's kilograms, I can get started on this problem. How am I going to set it up? Always start with what you have. What you have is what you have. So always start with that. And what we have is what the label reads. The label is what you have on hand. And it's 75 micrograms per ml. So write that down. 75 micrograms per 1 ml. Okay? What is the order? The order is digoxin 15 micrograms per kilogram. All I have to do is multiply that micrograms times my kilograms I have already. So I do 15 times 20. Pull out my calculator. I'll try to do it under the light for you. 15 times 20. And that gives me 300. See that? 300. So that means I'm going to be giving 300 micrograms. And what do I have down here? X. X is what we're solving for. Microgram, milliliter. So my X is going to be milliliters because my units always have to match. What's the next step? After I've set up my equation, I'm going to cross multiply. I'm going to do 75 times X, which gives me 75X. And then I do 300 times 1. I have to cross multiply. 300 times 1, which gives me 300. Now I have 75X equals 300. I have to get X by itself. Remember, that's what I'm solving for. So how am I going to get X by itself? Divide by both sides. Divide by 75. Divide by 75. 75. How many times does 75 go into 300? I have no clue. Let me pull out my calculator. Four. See that? 4. So my answer is 4, but am I done? If I just leave it like this, is it going to be correct? Absolutely not. You always have to have your unit of measurement. If you forget what your unit of measurement is, go back to X because that's what we're solving for. And when you look, it's ml. So I'm giving 4 mLs. That is my answer, 4 mLs. And that's why it's so important when you're setting up your problem, always put your unit, because if you don't, you might make a mistake and get confused, okay? So let's do the second problem. Let's flip this over. Okay, let's do number 2. Look at number 2. My paper's dirty, but don't worry about that. It says, let me make this a little bit bigger for you. Okay. It says the physician orders Dilantin 45 milligrams per kilogram per day every 4 hours. The patient weighs 110 pounds. The medication label reads 125 milligrams per 5 mLs. What dose will you administer to the patient? So again, The first thing we want to do is turn our pounds into kilograms, and you do that by dividing by 2.2. 110 divided by 2.2. 110 divided by 2.2. And that gives us 50. Okay? So let me write that on the side so I don't forget. My kid weighs 50 kilograms. This is how much my kid weighs. Next, we're going to set up our problem. Remember, we're always going to set up starting with what we have. What we have is what is on the label. That's what we have. Okay, so the label reads 125 milligrams over 5 ml. Write it down. 125 milligrams over 5 ml equals, well, look at what's ordered, 45 milligrams per kilogram. So all we have to do is multiply that milligram, which is 45, times our kilogram, which is 50. 45 times 50. 45 times 50, that gives us 2250. So I'm going to give, write it down, 2250 milligrams, right, over X. Remember, X is what we're solving for. Your units have to always match. Milligram, milligram, milliliters, X, what? Milliliters. Write it down so you don't forget. Now that all of my units match, I can cross multiply. I'm going to multiply 125 times X, which gives me 125X. And 2250 times 5. What is that? I have no idea. Let's plug it in the calculator. 2250 times 5. That gives me 11,250. So write it down, 11,250. So I have 125X equals 11,250. Again, I got to get X by itself. I'm going to divide by both sides. Divide by 125, divide by 125. So 125 goes into 11,250 how many times? Let's plug that in. 11,250 divided by 125, 90. It goes 90 times. So that means I'm going to be giving 90 mLs per day. How do I know it's ml? Remember, I'm solving for X. X is ml. So that's how I know that's my unit. So I'm giving 90 mLs per day. But I want you to go back to the question. Look what it says. What dose will you administer to the patient? Now how much you're going to give per day, what dose? So if you go back to the order, and it says that we're giving this medication every 4 hours. If you're giving a medication every 4 hours, how many times are you going to be giving that medication? 6. Why? 4 times 6 is 24. Just like if it said to give the medication every 6 hours, then you know you'd be giving 4 doses. But since it said to give every 4 hours, we know that we're giving 6 doses. We are giving this medication 6 times. Why is that important? If we're giving 90 milliliters per day, but we know we're giving this medication 6 times, we have to divide that 90 by 6 to get our real answer. So let's do it. 90 divided by 6, 15. We're going to be giving 15 mLs per dose. Even though we're giving 90 milliliters a day, because we're giving this medication every 4 hours, we know that means we have to give this medication 6 times a day. We're taking this total dose of 90 and we're dividing it by 6, and that's how we get the 15 milliliters per dose. Be very careful, because that's how the test writers will try to trick you. It might ask you per day, and it might ask you per dose. Per day is always going to be the total, the accumulation of what you're going to give for that entire 24 hours versus the dose, which is how much you're going to give every time you give that particular medication. All right, let's move on to number 3. Look at number 3. Number 3 says, the physician ordered ampicillin 5 milligrams per kilogram, and the patient weighs 55 pounds. The medication label reads 25 milligrams per milliliter. What dose will you administer to the patient? Again, let me write my number 3. This is number 3 we're doing. Again, we're going to convert our pounds to kilogram. That's the first thing we're going to do. So we're going to do 55 divided by 2.2. And you should get 25, okay? So let's write it here on the side so we don't forget. Our kid weighs 25 kilograms. Now that we know how many kilograms our child weighs, we can do the math. As I said, always start with your label. Always start with what you have. What you have is not going to change. If you take a look at what the doctor wants, 5 milligrams, and what we have is 25 milligrams. So wonderful, we don't have to convert. But let's say you do have to convert. What you have on hand is what you have on hand. You're not going to convert what you have on hand. You're going to convert what they want to what you have on hand. So let's go ahead and write down 25 milligrams per 1 ml. 25 milligrams to 1 ml equals, again, now we go to what's ordered, which is 5 milligrams per kilogram. And all we're going to do is multiply that 5 milligrams times our 25 kilograms to see what we're going to do. 5 times 25. And you should come up with 125. 125 milligrams over what? X. X is what you're solving for. Milligram, milligram. Milliliters, X is going to be what? Milliliters. Whatever you're solving for is going to be ml. We set up our problem. Now we cross multiply. 25 times X equals 25X. 125 times 1 equals 125. Now I have 25X equals 125. We have to get X by itself. What are we going to do? We're going to divide by both sides. 25, 25. 25 goes into 125 how many times? 5 times. Just plug it in. 125 divided by 5. Why do I have 25? That's not right. 125 divided by 25. Just joking. There you go. 5, right? So my answer is 5. 5 what? We're solving for X. 5 mLs. Let me make sure I'm right. Number 3. Yep. There you go. 5 mLs. Okay, let's do number 4. Number 4. Look at the question. It says the physician ordered Zofran 120 milligrams per kilogram. Patient weighs 33 pounds. The medication label reads 200 milligrams per ml. You will administer 9 ml to the patient, true or false? I have no idea. Let's do this math and figure it out. What is the first thing we're going to do? We're going to turn that pound into kilograms. So that 33 pounds, do 33 divided by 2.2. Oh. And that gives you 15. So we know our kid weighs 15 kilograms. Now that we know the kid weighs 15 kilograms, let's start our math. Again, always start with what you already have. Let me move this down here under number 4 so you can see better. Always start with what you have, which is 200 milligrams per ml. So I'm going to write 200 milligrams over 1 ml is equal to, now look at what's ordered, 120 milligrams per kilogram. So we're going to multiply that 120 times our kilogram. 120 times 15. $120 times 15, that gives you 1,800. So we're going to give 1,800 milligrams over X. We're not done. We have to put a unit on the X. You see, milligram, milligram, milliliter. We're going to X milliliters. Whatever we solve for is going to be an ml. Now that our problem's set up, let's cross multiply. 200 times X is going to be 200X. 1,800 times 1 is going to be 1,800. 200X equals 1,800. We have to get X by itself. So what are we going to do? Divide by both sides. 200, 200. How many times did 200 go into 18? 2 goes into 18 9 times. Let me get rid of this. So it's 9, but remember, we have to have our unit, 9 mLs. So saying we're going to give 9 ml, is this true? Yes, it's true. That's exactly what we're going to give. Let's check the answer. Number 4. Yep, true. That's what we're giving. Let's do number 5. It says the physician ordered lithostat 15 milligrams per kilogram. Patient weighs 44 pounds. The label reads 100 milligrams per milliliter. What dose will you administer to the patient? As always, we're going to start with our pounds. Convert that to kilogram. 44 divided by 2.2. 20. So our kid weighs 20 kilograms. What number are we on? Oh, we're on number 5. Okay, so I'm going to write my 20 kilograms here so I don't forget. What are we going to do next? We're going to start with what we have. We're going to look at the label. It says 100 milligrams per ml. Jot that down. 100 milligrams per 1 ml is equal to, remember up here what's being ordered, 15 milligrams per kilogram. Multiply that 15 times your kilogram. 15 times 20. And that gives you 300. Why do I feel like we did this already? But maybe not. That gives me 300. 300 milligrams over X. What's my unit going to be? ml. What do I do next? I cross multiply. 100 times X equals 100X. And then 300 times 1 equals 300. Now I have 100X equals 300. Let me put this over here so you can still see. I got to get X by itself, so I'm going to divide by both sides. Divide by 100, divide by 100. 100 goes into 300 3 times. 3 what? ml. Always go to X to see what your unit is if you forgot. We're giving 3 mLs. That's for number 5, 3 ml right here. All right, let's do number 6. For number 6, it says the physician ordered Celicin 10 milligrams per kilogram per day every 6 hours. The patient weighs 44 pounds. The label reads 125 milligrams per ml. What dose will you administer to the patient? Nothing changes. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to start with our pounds and convert that to kilograms. So let's do 44 divided by 2.2. That gives us 20. Our kid weighs 20 kilograms. 20 kilograms. All right. Next, we're going to look at what we have, which is our label. It's 125 per 1 ml. Let's write it down. 125 milligrams per 1 ml. And that equals, let's go to what's ordered, 10 milligrams per kilogram, and our kid weighs 20 kilograms. So you're going to do 10 times 20. What does that give you? 2, add my zeros. That gives you 200 over X. Remember, we have to have our units. This is milligram. So this over here has to be milligram. And this is milliliters. Move this up for you. This is milliliters. So this has to be milliliters. Okay, great. Let me move here so you can see the math. I want you to still be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, you can see this. Now that this is set up, we can cross multiply. 125 times X equals 125X. And then 200 times 1 is equal to 200. 125X equals 200. We got to get X by itself. So we're going to divide by 125. 125. How many times is 125 going to 200? 1.6. Number 6, am I right? Nope, I'm all off. I did something wrong. Let me see if I can figure out what I did wrong. Number 6, the answer is supposed to be 0.4. Okay, let's see what I did wrong. My kid weighs 20 kilograms. I mean, do 44 divided by 2.2. Okay, so that's correct. Then I do 125 over 1 ml is equal to 10 times 20. 200, yep, 200 over X. Then I cross multiply 125x is equal to 200. What am I doing wrong? 200 divided by 125. Wait, 125 divided by 200. I don't know what I did wrong. I'm going to start over again. If you guys see where I went wrong, let me know in the comment section because I'm starting this all over again. I'm trying to figure out where I went wrong. Let's start over. Pounds. 44 divided by 2.2. Kid weighs 20 kilograms. I'm going to put that over here. I know what I did wrong. Guys, look. What dose will you administer? I did the math right. Take a look. Where's that math I was doing? Oh, I'm annoyed with myself. Here it is. So wait a minute. When I did 200 divided by 125, my answer was 1.6, but that's for the day. 1.6 mLs, this is for the day. The question's asking me dose. So let me do the dose and see if I was right all along. So if I'm giving 1.6 mLs for the entire day, and it says that I'm giving this medication every 6 hours. If I'm giving this medication every 6 hours, that means I'm giving this medication 4 times a day. Why? Because 6 times 4 equals 24. If I'm giving this medication every 6 hours, that means 4 times a day I'm giving this medication. That means this answer of 1.6 that I got, I have to divide that by 4. Because I'm giving it 4 times. 1.6 divided by 4, and this better be the right answer. Oh. 1.6 divided by 4, 0.4. That is the correct answer, 0.4. You see what I did? And I've been doing this for years, and I made that simple mistake. Don't do it. And I just warned you guys about it, and I did exactly what I warned you guys not to do. Okay? So with that being said, always go back and check. After you figure out how much you're going to give that patient per day, make sure if it's per dose, you have to divide what you're giving per day so you don't mess up on your math. It's so funny, guys. I really squeezed in this medication. I squeezed in this video. I have to go to the Geek Squad and get one of my laptops fixed. My appointment is up, so I have to run. But I'm going to continue. I have a couple more questions to continue with you. But please go back, watch this video. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section. But I promise I'm going to come back and continue the rest. This mistake that I made, this is the biggest mistake that students make. You guys know the math. You will get the answer correct, but you'll forget after you figure out how much to give the patient per day, you'll forget to change it to how much you're going to give them per dose. Day is the accumulation, how much you're going to give them within that 24 hours. And dose is how much you're going to give them every single time that you give that medication. Big difference. All right, guys, I know this was a short video, but for what it was, please let me know what you thought about this video in the comment section. I promise the next video I make is going to be the rest of these questions. I have just a couple more to go. If you'd like to see more nursing math, let me know what type of math you'd like to see. Maybe you'd like to see drop factor. Maybe you'd like to see heparin, whatever it is, let me know in the comment section and I will try my best to deliver those type of questions for you. Thank you so much for watching this video and you guys will catch me on the next video.